Good evening, Twitch.tv, and good evening, 2MB Studios. You are here live. It is 7 p.m. on Monday evening, which means that it's time to play a game show called That Sounds Right. I'm your host, Misinformation. Here on That Sounds Right, this is a game show where it doesn't matter who is right, it only matters who sounds right. The contestants that you will see tonight here are going to be earning points based off of how right they sound while answering various trivia questions. With me, as always, is my co-host, Will. Will, did that all sound right to you?
Misinformation, that sounded right because that is the name of the show. Is it what makes me sleep well at night? No, it is not.
I'm so
but we
sorry.
do it anyways. I'm used to it at this point. Am I?
Yeah,
What
Will,
can I
we've been
say?
doing this for a while. We've been around for a while. We've been handing out degrees to folks that sound like they deserve them for months and months.
Sometimes to people who actually do deserve them based on the veracity of their answers, but that doesn't matter here on this show. We have fun anyways.
Now, tell me, Will, what does veracity mean?
It means truthiness, misinformation. It means the truth. Giving answers and information, or giving answers and awarding points to the people who give the right answers as opposed to the people who sound right, which I know is the point of the show. But for me, truth is what matters, and it will set us free.
Wow, Will, I think that's inspiring for you personally. And for me personally, that
doesn't matter whatsoever.
Just not what I like to do. No.
I know.
No. So tonight I think I'm going to give out some points based on not the veracity of the answers, not the truthiness, as you said, but rather the righty soundiness of the answers. I think that's my plan.
And that's a plan. Let's do it.
Let's bring in the contestants. We've got Emily on tonight. Emily, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Very happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, we're happy to have you. Now, Emily, you have previously won this show. You are back to try and earn a master's degree from 2MB University. What's your strategy?
My strategy is to sound right, and that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Worked
Emily,
last time. I'm hoping it'll work again.
Yeah, that's a genius strategy. It worked last time. Let's see it. We've got Kendra on the show. Kendra, welcome.
Hi. Hello. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for being here. Kendra, you also are a previous winner of this show.
Yes, I am.
Back to compete for your master's. Is there anything you're going to do differently this time, or are you going to operate on that same strategy?
I think I'm going to do the same strategy of just pretending I'm like a white dude.
Yeah.
And having that confidence. That's all that you really need.
Absolutely. And Kendra, it worked out well for you last time. Let's see how far it can take you this time. With us as well is our underdog of the evening, Kevin. Kevin, back on the show. Welcome back.
Thank you. Hello. Well, thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here. Kevin, you are back to try and walk away with that bachelor's degree from 2MB University. You're here for the win tonight. It didn't work out well for you last time, but what are you going to do differently tonight?
No matter what I do, I guess I just got to feel like I'm telling the truth in my heart, so it'll sound that way.
Wow, the truth of your heart. That's a really sweet answer, Kevin. I hope it works out for you. Emily, Kendra, Kevin, let's get started with our first round and our first question of our first round, which is, where was the first McDonald's drive-thru and why was it implemented? Where was that first McDonald's drive-thru and why? Why'd they put it there? Why'd that happen? Emily, what do you think? Where was that McDonald's drive-thru?
Yeah, so it was located in middle America, which, as we all know, is Ohio. And the reason that they decided to start doing this is because there was a lot of, at this time in the 50s, there were a lot of kind of drive-in type of dining experiences. And so they thought, we're not quite this type of a restaurant. That's not really our vibe, but we need to be competitive. So rather than it being, we're just going to walk in, you grab your food, you walk out, like McDonald's typically, a lot of people would use that strategy when they're going to McDonald's. They designed the ability to be able to drive straight through, you grab your food and you go. So the idea is different than the drive-in where you're getting the food, you're sitting in your car in the parking lot and eating it there. In this situation, you're grabbing that food and then you can go on to your next destination. So it was all about competing with the drive-in restaurant.
Interesting. Competing with the drive-in restaurant, and your answer is in Ohio, Middle America. Yep. Excellent. Kendra, what's your answer?
So the first McDonald's drive-thru actually happened in Los Angeles because there's a little bit of a West Side Story situation that was going on. There's a lot of gang members just fighting each other and like around the 60s in the McDonald's restaurant. So they figured that having a drive-thru would lessen contact of like rival gangs with each other. And also facilitate sales, because if if someone like randomly pulls out a knife at your McDonald's, you're like, I don't want to come back here again. So they were hoping that would be the result, and it was. And now we have drive-thrus everywhere.
Wow! So they streamlined that process so that there was less opportunity for gang violence.
Yes.
Excellent. And where did you say that was, Kendra?
Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles. Excellent. Wonderful. 2 very right-sounding answers. Kevin, let's hear from you. Where was that McDonald's drive-thru?
It's actually in a little town called Sierra Vista, Arizona, and it was created so military personnel could go and buy some food without having to change out of their uniforms because of a law that said military personnel could not be seen in public wearing their uniforms.
So by making it a drive-thru restaurant, they didn't even have to get out of the car. They could grab their food and go.
Exactly. They just ripped a hole in the side of the wall and they're like, come on in, but don't come in, stay in your car.
Excellent. Folks, this is an excellent example. Great first question to start out with, because these are 3 very right-sounding answers. Any of these answers could be true. We really have no idea. For folks tuning in for the first time, what we've got here was 2 answers that were totally made up on the spot as soon as they heard that question, and 1 answer that is actually correct, actually factual. Now, if I were Will Actually, I would be giving out points to the correct answer. I'm not sure who that is. I'm really here to give points for the answer that sounds correct. And I think I'm gonna go with Kevin on this one. Kevin, let's give 5 points to you. It makes sense to me for legal reasons that they would want to, hit that demographic, let those uniformed people have some food, and do it quick. Makes sense to me. 5 points to Kevin in the first round.
Will Actually here. Your name must also be Will Actually, because that's correct. Giving out points for the right answer. Giving out points for the right answer. The show is starting off on a good foot.
It's
Yay,
Will's
Kevin.
favorite.
Woo.
Will's favorite time. Kevin, you've got 5 points for a correct answer. You didn't get those points because the answer was correct, but even so, Will Actually is going home in a good mood right now. Great. Not going home yet. He's staying here in the studio with me. But let's go to the second question. The second question of the first round is, who was the only president who spoke English as a second language? The only president who spoke English as a second language. I'm assuming this is the president of the U.S. This trivia show is taking place in the U.S., so that's the assumption I'm going to operate on. And we're hearing which president spoke English as a second language. Let's go to Kendra first on this one. Kendra, which president was that?
That was Martin van Buren, because he grew up speaking Dutch. He lived in kind of New Amsterdam area, now known as New York. So he learned English, second language. I believe he was president in like early 1800s.
That sounds right. That sounds right to me, Kendra. Martin van Buren. Could be true. Grew up speaking Dutch. Let's hear from Kevin. Kevin, which president was this?
A little known fact is actually George W. Bush. He couldn't speak any language, so he learned it as an adult. Dick Cheney taught it to him right before they ran, and that's why he has so many problems now, but excellent painter.
Excellent painter, as we all know, what he's most famous for.
Exactly.
Thank you, Kevin. Could be true. No way of knowing quite yet. Let's hear from Emily. Emily, what's your answer?
So the answer to this question is Thomas Jefferson. He, as we know, every U.S. president has been born in the United States, or they're U.S. citizen. However, Jefferson's mother was from France, and so he grew up in a household speaking French. And it's interesting because if anybody's seen Hamilton, they talk a lot about how he was over in France during the 1780s, and it was very dramatic when he comes back, right?
Yes.
And so that's part of why he had those ties to France, because his mother was French and he could speak the language.
Right. Emily, that's a great answer. That had some good details. I'm not sure what language Thomas Jefferson spoke, but I do remember that number in Hamilton. So that's definitely winning you some pull there. I believe it was the second act opener, if I'm remembering correctly.
That sounds absolutely correct. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds right to me. I'm actually, it could be George W. Bush.
It is.
Did you say? Yeah, it could be. That could sound right. Emily's could sound right. But in the end, on this question, I am going to give 5 points to Kendra for Martin Van Buren, because Dutch is a very specific language to have someone speak, and that it felt like they really knew that for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give 5 points to Kendra on that for an answer that really makes sense. Kendra also knew what New York used to be called, which I found convincing. That was a convincing detail. So that's 5 points going to Kendra.
Well, actually,
Martin Van Buren.
They are correct. Martin Van Buren is the answer.
Wow, for real? 2 in a row.
2 in a row.
Wow.
2 in a row. Good
Will,
start to the show.
That's a good start for Will, actually. Will and I are on the same page tonight, folks. Now, if you know me, you know that I don't care that these answers have been correct. What I care about is that Kendra sounded right. That's why they got 5 points. Now, we're going to move on, and I'm going to keep giving points for answers that sound correct. And if Will gets to keep doing his happy dance, I'm not going to be upset about that either, really. We are best friends, after all. Folks in the chat, if you have someone you want me to give points to, let me know, because I'm usually very swayable. Very swayable. We've got a third question coming up here. First round, third question. According to scientists at the History Channel, when was the worst time in history to be alive? I can't wait to hear these answers. Folks in the chat, listen up. Tell me which one you think is correct. The scientists at the History Channel say that this was the worst time to be alive. Kevin, what do you think? What do those scientists at the History Channel say?
I'm sure they say specifically sometime around like the middle of all time, like the middle century there, where all the bad stuff was happening.
That middle time?
Yeah, everyone kept dying. There's not a lot written from there because they just kept on puking and dying and not having kids and stuff.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Like
that would have been like the
fifth. I don't know what. Fifth. 1837.
1837?
Yeah.
Worst time to be alive, right in the middle.
That's right.
That's probably when Martin Van Buren was president.
Yeah. That's when Dutch people could be president.
1837.
Yes. That was, in fact, when he started his presidency.
Oh, my God.
All right, give me a point.
Okay, well, already some really convincing things happening in this question. Let's hear from Emily. Emily, what was the worst time to be alive?
Well, according to the scientists at the History Channel, the worst time to be alive was in the 6th century. So in 536, the year 536, there was actually a volcano that erupted, and when it erupted, the ash from this volcano was so horrible that a lot of like North America and like the top part of the globe was in darkness. So there was like this fog that was caused by the volcano, plunged the whole northern hemisphere into darkness for like 18 months. And so like a lot of things couldn't grow because you didn't have sun, and also it was just like dark all the time, and it was cold, and everyone hated it.
Right. That would make anyone grumpy.
Yeah.
All that ash in the sky.
Yeah.
Just puts a damper on your day. Kendra, what do you think? What do these scientists say is the worst time to be alive?
So I think the worst time to be alive, or the scientists.
Right.
I'm a scientist actually at the History Channel. That's a very important fact.
Okay,
but according But according to the scientists at the History Channel, which includes me, the worst time to be alive was actually when dinosaurs were alive, because you could just be eaten. And then the meteor hit and like killed like so many life forms on Earth. So it's like either you get eaten by a dinosaur, or like this meteor hits and then like the dirt from the meteor, just you choke on it and you die. So that's the worst time.
So that's basically like Emily's answer plus dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's rough.
Yeah. And also
Sounds
this
like
was
worse.
before agriculture. So like people didn't know how to grow plants, right? They weren't like, oh, here's what I could do to grow. This is before agriculture, before like humans even knew about that. So it's just like all the plants are dead now and people just had to deal with it.
I mean, that actually would be like the worst time to be alive, right? That sounds like that would be rough.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know the scientists at the History Channel, besides Kendra, of course. Right. We've got 3 really different answers. We've got, dinosaur times, 537, the year 537, and the year 1837.
1837.
Kevin, you said 1837, and Emily, you said 537?
It was 536 was when it started, but actually you're also right because it lasted 18 months. So
Sounds like a lie to me.
Included 537.
36. Okay, so Rachel Andelman in the chat says, I think dino times would blow. So that's a vote for Kendra's answer already here. Really, really spread out answers. I think 1837, I personally wouldn't want to live during that time. Dino times probably wouldn't want to live during those times either. I think for this answer, I'm gonna go right in the middle. I'm gonna pick the average answer, the answer right in between being 536. Some of the worst stuff from Dino times, probably some of the worst stuff from 1837, all mixed into that central volcano era. Let's go with that. 5 points. 5 points to Emily for volcano years in darkness. Worst time to be alive.
According to the scientists at the History Channel, it is.
Wow.
Emily's correct. 3,
Incredible.
4, 3, 3, 4, 3. This is probably the best start that I've had in a very long time. So thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah.
Misinformation. We are loving this.
This is unprecedented for the past few weeks. This is like unprecedented since the last time this happened. So this is a very strong first round. Really good for Will, actually. We've got a lot of right sounding answers coming out. And Kevin, you're really pulling your weight. It's a tied score. It's
Yes.
5-5. You are still in the running for your first degree from 2MB University. How does it feel? And is there anything that you want to tell the audience?
It feels great. Like I said before, it'll be my first degree anywhere, so that's exciting. I guess if you want to find me, you can, continue to watch Quarantine Action Wrestling every Thursday on this very channel, even though I'm technically retired, but it's wrestling. Just look out for Rubber Chicken anywhere. If you find them on YouTube or on 2MB here and there, we're coming for you. That's about it. Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks, Kevin. Keep an eye out for Rubber Chicken and Quarantine Action Wrestling. Thank you, chat. Let's head on to the second round. First question of the second round, and then we'll hear your answers, is why did Ben Affleck halt the filming of the 2014 movie Gone Girl? Okay, the movie Gone Girl. Ben Affleck famously is in this movie, Gone Girl. And Ben Affleck halted the filming of the whole project. Why? Why did this happen? Emily, let's hear from you first. Why did Ben Affleck do this?
Sure. Well, a lot of people know that Ben Affleck uses method acting. And I don't want to spoil the movie or the book for anyone, but the character that he played went through some stuff, maybe wasn't the greatest. It was kind of a conflictual role that he played. So while he was method acting, the movie has a twist. Which I'm not going to give away, but I will say that he chose to operate his method acting first in the way that the viewer or the reader would originally perceive the character, and then also had to kind of mix that with how the character actually is as the core of that character. And so this caused a lot of conflict, sort of a bit of not really an identity crisis, but it was really tricky for him. And so he put everything on pause, as he can do because he's famous and he's calling a lot of the shots.
Right.
He put it on pause, kind of did some realignment, some therapy, took a brief, just some time to kind of get right back on track and be his best self, and then it resumed.
Okay, so he was sort of all caught up in his method acting.
Yeah, it was almost like a Jekyll and Hyde a little bit, and at the same time he had to be Ben Affleck, so it was tough.
Jekyll and Hyde and Ben Affleck all in the same room,
right?
What a nightmare!
Weird.
Kendra, let's hear from you. Why did Ben Affleck halt the filming of this movie?
All right, so as we all know, Ben Affleck is a Boston boy. He's a Boston kid, right?
Yeah.
So what'd you say?
I said he's from Cambridge.
Oh, tomato. So there's a scene where his character in Gone Girl is traveling and needs to disguise himself, because I don't want to give spoilers, but the character needs to disguise himself and is traveling. So originally, the costume designers the costume people and director was like, okay, we'll just give the character a New York Yankees hat to wear as he's like going through the airport. However, Ben Affleck was such a Boston kid that he refused to wear a New York Yankees hat because of his allegiance to the city of Boston. So filming was literally halted for like 5 hours this day, as David Fincher, the director, argued with Ben Affleck, saying like, listen, you're not this person in real life. Like, this person isn't from Boston. Why does it matter that you're wearing a New York Yankees hat? And he was like, no, I can't wear the New York Yankees hat. Like, they're our enemy. So I think the compromise was like, after literally hours of filming being halted for this very petty reason, like someone found a hat of a different baseball team that Ben Affleck wore.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Two very different answers, both right sounding, but two very different answers. One involving Ben Affleck being maybe too serious of an actor, and one involving Ben Affleck maybe just not understanding how acting works. Kevin, I've heard this. Oh, interesting. You've got some support in the chat for this, Kendra. Kevin, let's hear your answer.
Well, I'm actually kind of mad that Kendra said that, because it's so like the real answer. It's nuts. So as you know, Ben Affleck's character in the movie owns a bar. The guy's name's Nick. He owns a sports bar in there.
Right.
And they wanted to wear a baseball jersey in it, and they had an Alex Rodriguez one. And famously, Alex Rodriguez turned down the Boston Red Sox in some bullshit. Sorry, I don't want to get mad right now.
No, you can get mad.
I get it. So
Get it out.
like I said, just went on, and he was just yelling at David Fincher about it, and they're like, what the fuck? And so it halted filming for I want to say a few days. And he ends up just going with like a t-shirt, because fuck the Yankees, am I right?
Wow. Okay. So 3 very different answers. Well, 2 very similar answers, and then 1 very different answer. Emily's answer is that he was too into his method acting, needed to take a break. Kendra's answer is that Ben Affleck would not wear a Yankees hat in one scene, and Kevin's answer is that he wouldn't wear the Rodriguez the A-Rod jersey. Oof. So wow. So this other Dave Thomas in the chat says, I have won this show twice, Kendra. I assume other Dave Thomas is letting us know that he has won the show twice and also is giving support for Kendra's answer. That's what I'm going to assume here. Here's my thing. I'm going to give 5 points, and I think it will be an unpopular decision. Ben Affleck strikes me.
Is it for me?
Ben Affleck strikes me as a guy who takes himself pretty seriously. That's that's the vibe I get from Ben Affleck. But I also know that he's from Boston. So both of these things are true. I know that both of these things are true. In the end of this question, here's what I'm going to do. Kevin named a really important detail from the movie, being Ben Affleck's character is Nick and owns a sports bar. I didn't even remember that until Kevin said that. But once Kevin said that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. The character's name was Nick. I have seen this movie. It was a sports bar. Kevin clearly loves the movie Gone Girl. Kevin loves the movie Gone Girl. That makes sense that Kevin would know this. That is qualifying Kevin to win 5 points for sounding right, because Kevin knew the details of the film. Kevin knew that Ben Affleck is from Boston. Kevin knew details about Rodriguez turning down the Red Sox. All of this contributes to a very right sounding answer. Thank you to MB. That's going to be 5 points to Kevin for loving the movie Gone Girl.
Well, actually, here. So because Kevin knew the movie, he gets the points.
Named details of the movie. It's a very right-sounding answer for that reason.
I have to believe that everybody else names at least one detail of the movie when they were. Yeah, Kevin's not correct on this one.
Oh, was it Emily?
All things had to come. Yeah, no, it was Kendra. Kendra was correct.
I know the Gone Girl trivia. I know that movie backwards and forwards. All right. He didn't want to wear a fucking New York Yankees hat. He was like, no one would hear the end of it because I'm from Boston. My family will fucking disown me. That's what he fucking said. And Dave Fincher was like, are you fucking serious?
Wow. And this was hours of the day.
Actually, so that detail Kevin got right. It actually was days. It was 4 days.
Oh, I love the movie Gone Girl.
Days.
I also love that movie. I love that movie.
Okay, I don't actually. I think I got this movie confused with the girl on the train. Is there like a big twist with Nick, or is he just normal the whole time?
No, there's
Should we spoil Gone Girl right here?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's everybody for the next like 30 seconds. We're gonna spoil Gone Girl. If you haven't seen Gone Girl,
don't listen to this.
Mute until I give the thumbs up, okay?
Yes. I'll have to mute because someone's here. I think that doesn't want to be spoiled on Gone Girl. So just give me a thumbs up when we're ready.
Okay,
Kendra,
go ahead.
Kendra, let me know about this.
Okay, yeah. So Gone Girl is based on a novel. Basically, the point. So you suspect Ben Affleck's character to have murdered his wife, and the twist is that his wife framed him for the murder.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I know now.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that twist happens maybe an hour into the movie or so, and then it's oh wow, and then it's you watching Nick try to prove his inness to the mass media and to his lawyer.
He cheating on his wife too, though?
Yeah, no, his character isn't none of the characters are good.
But he's not a murderer.
He's not a
murderer.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not a murderer.
Okay.
I would.
Emily, do you like that? Do you like that movie?
I've definitely seen it. It's I think I've seen a lot of movies that are similar plots where it's one of the spouses is going to murder one of them, and sometimes I get confused. Mm-hmm. Which one? But I definitely read that book, and I think saw the movie.
Yeah, I've heard the book is very good.
Yeah, it's the same as the movie.
Spoilers are over. This is your thumbs up. This is your signal to come back to That Sounds Right. Folks, we're done spoiling Gone Girl, and we're ready to move on to the next question in the second round, which is, when police asked convicted serial killer Henry Lee Lucas why he didn't barbecue and eat his victims along with partner and friend Otis Toole, what was his reply? All right, let me give this question again here, okay? There's a famous serial killer. I don't know if he's that famous. I'm sorry. But he is a serial killer, Henry Lee Lucas. All right. And his friend and partner, Otis Toole, Otis Toole would eat and barbecue and eat the victims. Henry Lee Lucas did not barbecue and eat the victims along with his partner. That seems to be what this question is saying. That's my understanding. Now, when the police asked Henry Lee Lucas, hey, why did you not barbecue and eat your victims? What did Henry Lee Lucas say? That's what we're here to find out. That's what we're here to hear answers about. Kendra, I'm coming to you first. What did Henry Lee Lucas say?
Henry Lee Lucas simply said, I don't like the taste. I tried it before. It's not my favorite. So he was like, yeah, I want these people dead, but they taste bad.
A very reasonable answer from Henry Lee Lucas. Kevin, what did Henry Lee Lucas reply with?
Well, one, I would argue that Henry Lee Lucas is pretty famous. He killed 11 people allegedly, but then rescinded his confessions. Anyway, when the police asked him that question, he simply said, "I don't like barbecue sauce." It wasn't the taste of people he didn't like. It was just the barbecue sauce. Yeah.
So one part of this meal was not appealing to him, and it was not the human.
Yeah, it wasn't the people. People are delicious, famously.
Famously delicious.
Barbecue sauce.
But barbecue sauce. Maybe he should have tried a different brand. Well, I guess he probably just shouldn't have been eating people, if I'm being honest. But let's hear from.
Raise is good on everything, so if you can get that, try some people out.
Emily, what is what's your answer? What did Henry Lee Lucas say?
Well, Kevin was right that Henry Lee Lucas is actually pretty well known, but I think part of the reason we don't hear as much about him is because of Jeffrey Dahmer and was such a famous serial killer / carnivore. But one thing that is pretty sort of similar to Dahmer in a way is that actually consuming the human flesh, it's not just about the taste. Part of that fetish is about this idea of consuming power, of that I'm being strengthened. I'm actually like taking in this human. It's going to give me the strength of 2 humans or whatever. So that's part of the thought process there. So Henry Lee Lucas wasn't eating for the flavor of the human flesh. It was more so he felt that it was actually stronger if you ate it raw. So he would just kind of like gulp that down. And Otis, I guess, would barbecue. I actually don't know that much about Otis, but so it was just like raw, sort of like a what's that, steak tartare, sort of like that.
Oh, great. Great answer, Emily. So Kendra's answer is Henry Lee Lucas did not like the taste of people. Kevin's answer is Henry Lee Lucas did not like the taste of barbecue sauce. And Emily's answer is Henry Lucas liked it raw.
Yep.
Okay. 3 really answers. It could be any of these. Any of these could be correct. I don't really know anything about Henry Lee Lucas. I have to say, I think on this answer we've got some really brutal comments coming into the chat here. But I think I'm going to interesting. Abolish the Senate says, I feel like if Emily knew this much about Lucas, she would know the story with his partner. So a little blow there, Emily. We've got some support for Kevin coming in as well. But for me, Misinformation, the host of the show, I am going to go ahead and give 5 points for the most straightforward answer here. Sometimes the simplest answer is the right one. And I'm going to give 5 points to Kendra for, hey, he doesn't like it. He just doesn't like the taste, according to Henry Lee Lucas. Sometimes just a simple answer is what sounds right on this show. Am I right, Will?
That's the name of the show. But no, you are not correct on this one. Yeah, yes, that's wrong. Kevin was correct. He did not like the taste of barbecue sauce, so that's why he did not barbecue his victims.
He didn't like the taste of barbecue sauce. I got to be honest, once again.
Yeah, that's how you know he's a serial killer, because who doesn't like the taste of barbecue sauce, okay?
That's
like, what type of freak doesn't like barbecue sauce? It's good.
That's a good point, Kendra.
The crazy people. Watch The Confession Killer on Netflix, not a sponsor, but that's for misinformation if you want to learn more.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Not a sponsor, Netflix, but maybe someday. Netflix, look at us. That was 5 points to Kendra. 5 points to Kendra on that question for the right sounding answer of not liking the taste of human. Let's go ahead and move on to our last question of the second round, which is sweet question here. Big 180. How did Princess Diana and Prince Charles meet? How did those two meet? Sweet question. Let's go to Kevin first. Kevin, how did Princess Diana and Prince Charles meet?
Pretty simple. They met at a little cafe in St. Andrews, Scotland. They were by the university. There's a famous golf course right next door. And the prince walked in there one day, and Diana was there with some friends, and he was like, oh, hey, look at her. Struck up a conversation, and now we're here. Sorry that we're here. Anyway. But,
wow, that's such a casual meeting for two royalties.
Yeah, well, Scotland.
Yeah, they're still people, you know?
Yeah.
Let's go to Emily. Emily, what's your answer?
So Diana is a lot younger than Charles, and part of that age gap is because he was on a date with her older sister, and they went on a hunt. Was the date, and Diana was on the hunt, and she kind of just stole Charles away from Sarah.
Was it a first date, Emily?
Yes, it was
a hunt on the first date. Wow.
You know how British people do hunts?
Yeah, I've definitely heard that they do hunts.
It's common.
I have to be totally honest. Well, you know what? Let's hear Kendra's answer first. Let's hear Kendra's answer, and then I'll give my thoughts about this. Kendra, how did these two meet, Princess Diana and Prince Charles?
So they were distantly related. That's how everyone in the royal family meets. This is real. As you know, Prince Harry, or the one that died recently, was Queen Elizabeth's husband. They're all distantly related. So they probably met at some big fancy ass royal ass family reunion. So I know with Charles, that one, and Diana was complicated because they were married, but Charles was had an affair with a woman who he considered the love of his life, and the marriage was really more about appearances. But yeah, they were related. They were related.
Wow.
That's how they met.
That's,
same family tree.
Kendra, it totally could be true. Any of these answers could be true. They all sound somewhat right. I think here's my what I was going to say is, to be honest, I just know nothing about this area, about the royalty. This is not my area of expertise. When this question came up, I thought Princess Diana and Prince Charles, I thought this was a marriage question. How did they meet before marriage? But I was they also might not even have been married. I wasn't quite sure. Now I'm hearing that they definitely got married. And Kendra is saying they were related. Kevin is saying they just met at this cute little golf cafe in Scotland. And Emily is saying it was the hunt, on a hunt, and not even her date. She was just sort of crashing a hunt. Seems Kendra and Emily's answers both seem a little bit out there to me, but in terms of British royalty, it's still could be true. Kevin, you're getting some support in the chat, and you know what? She's not she wasn't royalty at all. I'm seeing in the chat. Diana wasn't royalty at first. So this casual meetup could potentially make sense. That, support from the chat plus my instincts, Kevin, it's all to you. 5 points to Kevin for just a little cafe, just a couple royals. Well, one royal and an American, apparently. Was Princess Diana an American person? Kevin
No, she was just lower English, so they thought she was American.
Oh, they thought she was American. All right. Well, 5 points to Kevin. Kevin seems to know a lot about this.
He may seem to know a lot about it. It might sound right, but unfortunately it is not. That is 3 wrong in a row. Points should have gone to Emily. Met on a hunt.
No way.
Well,
Met on a hunt.
Yeah, hunts are usually a lot like a hunting party. There's a lot of people, so
Okay.
it wasn't just the 3 of them. Diana was there, and
right, she wasn't a third wheel. She was just a member of the hunt.
Member of the hunt. Yeah.
I'm honestly surprised they weren't related. All of them are related.
They might be.
They might. I feel like
all British people are a little related.
Exactly. It's a small island. You can't. There's not that much you could do. And then they had the nerve to be mad that people not from Britain were moving in after colonization. It's they are improving your gene pool. Okay, you're gonna there's gonna be some kids with beautiful teeth.
Yeah, and their food's better for it.
Imagine.
I said their food's better for it too.
Oh,
exactly.
That's definitely true.
Yes.
I don't think the UK should yell at anybody for coming in and colonizing their land, because that is what they too.
I mean, who are they?
And also they're ugly. They're ugly. Like, you're gonna colonize people and not look cute. Like, come on.
I'm like 25% British.
Well, the 75% makes you
proven.
so beautiful. Makes you so beautiful. No, the 25% of your genes are the ones that are not manifested physically. It's
they've stayed
British
quiet.
Underlying traits.
Yeah, you're British, so maybe you have this genetic disorder, but the rest of your genes really.
I got diabetes. That's probably the British side.
I mean, maybe, yeah.
Tim, did you have anything to add?
Oh, well, no. Just taking this entire conversation in. That's about it. Just
taking it all in.
Just taking it in. Wow. Yeah.
I'm sorry if I've offended any British people.
Very, very little of it sounds right to me. I mean, yes, they were colonizers, but I can't speak to their attractiveness at all.
Terrible. They're terrible people.
Will's our fact checker, so we have no choice but to believe him. Will says British are colonizers, but might be attractive. There's no way of knowing. We have no more questions left in round 2. That was the end of round 2. Let's check the score here. We've got actually Kevin in the lead. Kevin, you are in the lead of this game. We've got Kendra right in the middle, and Emily, you are bringing up the rear right now with 5 points, but there's still time to make it up in the third round.
That's a bias because I'm British.
Probably the British in you.
I might be part British too. Shit, I have no idea.
We're all a little bit British.
We're all probably a little British.
You're filthy colonizers.
Emily, you have time to make up those points in the third round.
Okay.
Is there anything that you want to share with the audience before you try to redeem yourself?
Yes. I have a show on August 8th. It's actually a live show at Remnant Brewing. And it's not my show. I'm just going to be there. And I am going to be doing improv with a group of people that I did comedy with in college. And we are going to do improv as a group for the first time. Never practiced together, never done it. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. But it's at Remnant Brewery. So grab a beer and come check out. There's a bunch of other great acts and everything. So check it out.
Amazing. I love Remnant. That will be so fun.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Emily. Let's move on to our third round. First question. How long would it take to drive to outer space? Really straightforward one here, folks. If you were to drive to outer space, how long would that take? We all know where outer space, starts, where it begins. How long would it take to drive to that point? Emily, let's hear from you first. How long would it take us to drive to outer space?
Well, it's a variable question because there is no speed limit when you're driving vertically.
Right.
It's not regulated. So it could vary, but because of the space-time continuum, that changes things a little bit. It'll take you about 3 days.
3 days to drive to outer space because the space-time continuum kind of...
Yeah, because as you go higher, time gets bendy.
Yeah. Makes sense to me. Kendra, let's hear from you. How long would it take us to drive to outer space?
So the way that outer space is usually defined by scientists is at the it's basically the end of the very outer edges of the Earth's atmosphere. So if we're defining it by there, right, which isn't that far into outer space, it's just you can't breathe. If we're defining by there and you have a car going at about 60 miles per hour continuously, pretending that there's no such thing as gravity, because obviously you'd have to fight gravity and stuff. It would take about 1 month and 23 days. I think it is the approximate answer. 1 month
and 23 days. So a little over a month and a half there. That all makes sense. Emily, your answer was 3
days.
3 days, a month and a half. That's two pretty different answers. Let's hear from Kevin. Kevin, what's your answer?
Well, according to astronomer Fred Hoyle, I believe his name is, if you're driving again at 60 miles per hour straight up, you will get to outer space within 1 hour.
1
it's all
hour.
Theoretical because cars do not fly. So people out there, do not do this. You're not Vin Diesel.
Okay. This is good to know. Good to know that. So, 1 hour from you, Kevin. Just an hour to drive to outer space. You could drive to You can't even drive to Florida. And
why would you? You got outer space, fuck Florida. All right.
Wow. I guess if you're in Florida, you can drive to Florida in an hour. But let's think about this. Emily's answer is 3 days. Yep. Kendra's answer is a month and 23 days. Kevin's answer is 1 hour. These are such different answers. It's it's really difficult for me to pick. I'm going to use my same strategy as last time. Folks really are supporting Kevin in the chat. 1 hour to drive to outer space. 1 hour. I know planes drive a lot faster than cars, Radish Brett in the chat. So that's not a fair comparison. I'm going to go ahead and use my same strategy as last time. Split the difference right in the middle. Month and a half is really big. Hour is really small. Right in the middle is Emily with 3 days. It makes sense. Always take the average, which is Emily's answer. 3 days. That is the average time it would take to drive to outer space. 3 days because you're dealing with a lot up there. 5 points to Emily.
Well, actually, here that is incorrect. It is theoretically 1 hour. Kevin was correct on that one.
Space is 60 miles up?
Yeah.
What?
That's fake.
According to one guy who I looked up on the internet for about a minute.
Sounds like a scientist from the History Channel.
I feel like scientists don't want to tell us that the Earth is flat, and actually outer space is like right there.
We don't need them to tell us. We know it's flat. Hashtag flat Earth. Am I right?
No.
Yes.
That hashtag
Right. Spread the word. The Earth is
affiliated.
Drive our cars.
Yeah.
I think this Twitch show actually has an educational tag on it because it is a trivia show. So I think because we have that educational tag, I'm gonna say we're obligated to say in front of God and everyone, the Earth is round. But other than that, I'm not sure. Apparently, it only takes an hour to get to outer space, so I don't know much beyond that. But apparently it takes 1 hour to get to outer space. Kevin, you get no points for that answer because it did not sound right. Emily, you get the 5 points, for your answer. That sounded a little bit right to me. Let's go to second question, which is which band has the record for the most top 40 hits without a number one? So this band has no number one hits, but they've got a ton of top 40 hits. The record they hold. Kendra, let's hear from you. What is this band?
This band is Steely Dan.
Steely Dan? That could be true, Kendra. I really like that answer. Makes sense to me. No number one hits for Steely Dan, but hey, we all know. We all know popular Steely Dan tunes.
Yeah.
Kevin, what's your answer?
Crazy enough, it's Led Zeppelin. They were really good. People like Led Zeppelin a lot, but like the pop at the time was much more popular than them, so they were always number one, but they were always somewhere on the list. Yep.
Led Zeppelin. I guess that does kind of make sense. These are two right-sounding answers, Steely Dan and Led Zeppelin. Emily, what's your answer?
It's ELO, Electric Light Orchestra.
Oh, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah?
That's the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Yeah,
it's actually a Christmas standard.
No, they're like Mr. Blue Sky.
Yes. Okay.
And
no, I do know
some others that never made number one.
Yes.
Big hits.
Yes. I'm trying to think of how does Mr. Blue Sky go? I definitely know it.
Blue Sky. Thanks, Kevin.
Yep. Got it.
Sounds just like that.
Got it. Three great answers. ELO, Steely Dan, Led Zeppelin. Ooh, definitely gonna go with Steely Dan. 5 points to Kendra for Steely Dan. Tons of top 40 hits, but Steely Dan never quite made it to number one. Never number one for Steely Dan.
It was Emily.
Damn.
Wow, Led Zeppelin was also a really good answer. Those were three really good answers. It could have been any of them. 3 very right.
Could have been. But
It could have been. Emily, no points for you, unfortunately, on that answer. We gave 5 points to Kendra on that answer for Steely Dan, a very right-sounding answer. Let's get the last question in here of the third round. What flag has an AK-47 on it? What flag has an AK-47 on it? Let's go to Kevin first. Kevin, what flag is this?
It's the Russian police.
The Russian police.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Like their state police.
Their state police flag.
Yep. Like
Emily.
we have the Thin Blue Line, that piece of shit, and then they have the AK-47.
Makes sense. Emily, what's your answer?
It's the country of Jordan.
Could be true. Could be true. I
It
don't
is.
think I know that flag. Kendra, what's your answer?
It's the country of Mozambique. So obviously, like, there's lots of flags. I can make a flag with the AK-47 on it, but I meant a nation flag of a nation state, and that nation state is Mozambique because it was a former colonized entity.
Okay.
Can I add to my knowledge about Jordan?
Yeah, Emily, go ahead.
It's also a state country. It's near Armenia and also near a body of water. I think the Caspian Sea, maybe. So just so you know, I also know about countries.
Okay. It seems like you definitely know about Jordan.
Yeah, so much.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. You know, truth be told. Oh, Emily, in the chat, you're losing us here with your additional
What?
info. You lost points from the chat on that. I think it could be the Russian police. It could be.
It's the Russian state police.
Russian state police. I've never heard.
Russia doesn't have one police.
You know, the police here have a friggin' flag, but I thought that might have been just
Yeah, theirs is also a piece of shit.
This thing. Jordan, I don't really know anything about it other than what Kendra told me. Kendra, Kendra, you had a good reasoning behind yours. Let's go. Yeah, 5 points to Kendra. That it makes the most sense. We're gonna give 5 points to Kendra for knowing the background of the flag. Oh, and true. Yeah, we've got in the chat. Kendra did win on a flag question last time as well. So there we go. There's some background personal knowledge for Kendra. Makes sense. 5 points to them for their answer. What country?
Mozambique. It was Mozambique.
Yep, 5 points for that.
No, Emily said Jordan. I said Mozambique.
Emily said Jordan. Yes.
Will actually here. We're ending the show on a high note because Mozambique is correct.
Wow, we really pulled it out at the end there, Will. Actually, our friendship is saved.
Saved for yet another week.
Oh, we love that. We love that. Well, folks, we're going into the bonus lightning round now. Okay, we've got Kendra in the lead. Kendra, before we dive in, is there anything that you want to share with the audience?
Oh, yeah. You should look at my Twitter and Instagram at bossy_Dossie, spelt like my last name, bossy spelt like the adjective. For my shows, I have a lot of shows coming up. There's one Sunday, July 11th in Hartford, Connecticut. Thank you, Rachel. July 10th, I am at the Comedy Studio at Vera's. And then July 17th, I am headlining a show in Rochester, New York.
Amazing! Busy, Kendra. We love it. Fantastic. Everybody follow Kendra on Twitter. Let's head into the bonus lightning round, folks. In the chat, if you want to give someone a bonus point for their answer because you like it or you think it sounds right, you can put their name in the chat. I will add their bonus point to the roster, and that will declare the winner of tonight and a degree from 2MB University. That's what's going to decide it, is your votes. So really, get them in. Here we go, Will. Let's see that first question. What is this? Kevin, what is this?
Long fish.
Okay. Kendra, what is this?
A tooth from like a large cat.
Large cat. Emily, what is this?
Rhinoceros horn.
Will, what is this actually?
That is a saber-toothed tiger's tooth.
Oh my gosh!
Fossilized tooth.
I feel
That's
like I really
huge.
fast Kendra on their answer, and it was absolutely correct. Saber-toothed tiger, a big cat indeed.
Large
Let's go
cat.
to the next question. That is one large cat. Who is this? Who is this, Kevin?
That is Bert and Ernie.
Yeah. Kendra, who is this?
These are two white women.
Yeah.
It's not wrong.
Emily, Emily, who is this?
These are two sisters, Margaret and Pierre Lafondue, and they are at the Loco convention.
They're at the Loco convention. Will,
Yeah.
who is this actually?
They are Lisa and Louise Burns. You may remember them from the movie The Shining as the twins.
Oh, shit.
All grown up.
Twins. Oh,
Okay.
what a cute question. That was so fun. Le fondue. Let's go to the next bonus lightning round question, which is, what is this, Kevin?
Croque Monsieur.
Ooh, what is this, Kendra?
Yeah, this is a croque monsieur. And what else is it? What else would it be? It's
Emily,
food?
what do you think? What is it? Emily.
Okay, maybe it's a croque monsieur, but specifically from what's that cute Tate? That bakery, Tate. Yeah,
Tate.
they
Mixed
make
reactions to Tate. Will, what is this?
I had it as a croque madame, but maybe you're correct.
Oh, fuck.
You're probably right.
We misgendered the sandwich. I'm so sorry. I'm
Let
so
there be a
sorry,
lesson to
madame.
you.
Sorry, madame. One more bonus lightning round question. Where is this? Kevin, where is this?
That is the bridge at the end of the flat Earth.
Wow. Kendra, where is this?
It's in England, and that's why it's so ugly.
Emily, where is this?
Oh, well, this is it's in Jordan. It's covering the Caspian Sea that Jordan is located next to.
Will, where is this actually?
That is the Devil's Bridge. I actually forget exactly where it is, so I
At
can
the end
tell
of
you.
Flat
in a
Earth.
second.
What is
Flat
it
Earth.
called? The Devil's Bridge?
The Devil's Bridge. Hold on, I'll tell you where it's from in just a second.
It's
in hell. From the
From
chat.
Bulgaria.
Oh, from Bulgaria.
Oh,
Okay.
In the chat, we've got "This is how you drive to outer space." After a beautiful round of callbacks on that last bonus lightning round question, we are ready to declare a winner. Walking away with their master's degree from 2MB University is Kendra Dossie, everybody. Congratulations. Kendra, another degree for you.
Yeah, I am. I'm honored. I'm like I'm gonna apply to so many jobs with this master's degree.
Please do. I
I'm
can't
so
wait to see
excited.
it on your LinkedIn, Kendra. Emily and Kevin, thank you so much for coming on the show. We'll actually thank you as always. Chat, thank you for being here, and we will see you next week on That Sounds Right. Good night.
Bye.